Nicole Danielle.
And I'm Megan Lee. And this is Romance on the Rocks, where two bookish biddies imbibe and mostly read romance novels. And I say mostly because my book is a bit questionable this week, and that will be part of our upcoming discussion.
Okay. What are you drinking this evening, Megan?
I had plenty of options if I was going to go on theme with my book. These folks drank constantly. I had, champagne, wine, many different kinds of wine, gin and tonics, vodka tonics, straight up bourbon. Like, I could have grabbed anything. But
this sounds like my kind of people.
Yeah, I mean, good Southern stock. I decided to go with the one that made the biggest impression upon me, which is wine in a paper cup.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like we've done this when we've stayed at hotels on trips. But
exactly. And we will talk about this again with my book coming up.
Okay.
But just so you know, because we did decide to meet a little bit later because I was running behind, I had an appointment. It gave me enough time to stop and get a paper cup from the local gas station.
Wait, you on purpose got a paper cup?
Yeah, and I wanted you to know because I know how much you appreciate props. I got this on my way back from Green Bay specifically so I could cheers in the paper cup.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. But what kind of wine is it?
That is an excellent question. It's a beautiful red. I got this when I was in Spain with my sister, Elena.
Nice.
The label is absolutely stunning, you guys. It's this floral purple, gold, gray with a bird. And I would say it's an ocelot, but that's probably not true. I don't know. It's gorgeous.
It is pretty.
Yeah. And there is a line in the book where one of the characters says, life is too short to drink cheap wine. And so I went with a nice bottle of wine.
Good call. Good call.
How about you?
I am drinking something called the Improper Lady.
Oh, do tell.
So in this beverage, there is gin, triple sec, lemon juice, honey syrup, and orange marmalade.
Ooh, this sounds really good.
So the marmalade is a bit of a twist.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
Well, we're about to find out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so pretty.
Yep, I've got it in my little coupe glass. Coupe?
She's got her coupe, and she's got a nice dried orange slice on the side.
Really this is my last dried fruit slice in my collection. But
something to work on for the future.
Well, that is quite gin forward, but I do appreciate the delectable hints of marmalade.
That's pretty. I feel like I say that every week for your drinks. I'm always like, ooh, pretty. I'm over here slugging wine in a paper cup.
Full on theme, apparently. So.
I did. And speaking of which, I get to go first this time around for our pick a number, second to last pick a number, in fact. I read Savannah Blues by Mary Kay Andrews. It was published in 2002. So a little bit older. The premise. Eloise Wheezy Foley is our leading lady. She is a flipper, hunter, junker, thrifter, reseller.
We love that.
Oh, yeah, right? She loves antiques, estate sales, thrift stores, back alleys full of other people's cast-offs. Right.
Yeah.
So in this way, she is basically a Southern version of me.
Okay.
The book takes place in Savannah, hence the title, and it's real heavy on the Savannah. It felt like I was swimming in the South. Wheezy is recently divorced from her husband of 17 years, Tal. It's been a messy divorce. Tal was cheating on Wheezy, and as soon as the ink was dry on their divorce papers, he moved the mistress into the big house. And this is especially painful because not only did Wheezy lose the house in the divorce, she now has to watch this other woman, Caroline, flit around all the rooms that Wheezy spent so much time lovingly refurbishing. In fact, Wheezy gets a front row seat to the Caroline and Tal show because she has now been relegated to the carriage house. So they're on the same property.
Gross.
Yeah. It's pretty much like the only thing she won in the divorce. And even though it would be better for her to move for her mental health, right? She doesn't want to sell the carriage house. She pretty much is staying to stick it to Caroline and Tal. Wheezy knows that Caroline absolutely hates the fact that she's still on the property. And I wouldn't call it like a bitter move, more like stubborn, if that makes sense. Like she's just not willing to let go and she's trying to prove a point of some sort. Not quite sure what that point is. Maybe it's just you can't push me around. But she definitely gets pleasure out of pissing off Caroline. Anyway, I digress. The big plot point starts to form when Wheezy hears about an upcoming estate sale. It's going to be the sale of a century. Basically, it's the estate of Anna Ruby Millinax, who was the last remaining original heir to a southern antebellum plantation named Ballou. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. This is a very French-looking word, and I'm going with Ballou. Wheezy is practically salivating to get into this house, and her best friend, Bebe, drives with her to the sale to set up camp overnight. So here's a quotation. At 6 p.m. Friday, I loaded my equipment into the truck. The cooler with sandwiches, Diet Coke, a thermos of coffee, that all went in first. Next came my sleeping bag, pillow, bug spray, flashlight, my 2 biggest canvas LL Bean tote bags, and my Kohl's price guide. I could relate to that so much because that is the kind of shit that I throw together when I know I'm going on like a big day. In fact, last Friday, I had 4 estate sales to hit up in Appleton. And
damn.
I packed up my cooler. And I had my pillow and all my shit in the car because it was like I might have to sleep overnight in the car.
Wait, even the snowstorms and you still were estate sailing?
Last week, girl. Not this
okay.
weekend.
I was like, girl, what the hell are you doing?
No, ma'am. No, last week. But there were 4 estate sales and I was not going to, miss out when they were all that concentrated. And that's a good drive from my place, right? So as she's listing off the things that she's doing, I'm like, yeah, I totally relate to this girl. This is the kind of shit that I do. Wheezy and Bebe. And that feels so weird to say out loud, Bebe.
Is it Bibi or Bebe?
No, it's Bebe. I was pronouncing it as Bibi because that's what it looks like. But in the beginning of the book, Wheezy clarifies that Bebe's mom had Bebe, that it was her 9th child, and she just got tired and lazy and went for the French of baby. Bebe.
Which is Bebe, yeah.
Right, Bebe. So I wanted to read it as Bibi. It's not, it's Bebe. So the night before the sale, they pull up in the truck. Wheezy and Bebe sit up drinking wine from paper cups and discuss their shopping strategy for the next morning. After several of these beautiful little cups of wine, they try and get some rest. But a few hours later, Wheezy wakes up and really has to pee. Paper cup of wine and all. Now, here's the thing. This is where Wheezy and I part ways. Up until now, I was totally with her. But if I were the heroine in this story, this book would be over super quickly. Because I would have grabbed a roll of toilet paper that I keep in my car, and I would have wandered off into the trees, and I would have just taken a squat to piss in nature. Because I'm a Midwest heathen.
Also, you and I have learned the hard way. It is always important to have a roll of toilet paper in your vehicle at all times.
That's why I'm like, this girl was super prepared, right? Where's her toilet paper? Okay, so I'm saying it's because I'm this Midwest heathen because Wheezy is up to her elbows in Southern gentility, or maybe up to her bladder in Southern gentility. Regardless, Wheezy needs to pee. So she decides her best course of action is to break into the plantation house to use the bathroom. Just, what? Come on now.
Clearly, we're not used to squat peeing. I mean, this is a thing that maybe it's a Midwest thing. Like us Midwest girls are like, yeah, you got to pee behind a tree sometime.
I just feel like she was good enough to be able to camp and pack all the other stuff. She couldn't just like climb behind a bush and pee. I don't know.
Okay, you know what? I've peed in fucking parking lots up on the East Coast before, so I'm gonna say that Wheezy does not have her shit together.
Like I said, Southern gentility or something. Like she just couldn't. It didn't even occur to her that was an option. So she breaks into this old plantation house. Not only does she pry a window open, climb in, and start looking around for the loo, But she starts gathering random items along the way.
Oh, good gravy.
Like she's shopping the estate sale at 3 a.m., okay?
Oh, God. And she's got to pee?
Yes!
No.
She's like doing it on her way to the bathroom. Then she pees. Then she's stuffing more shit in the bag. Like a sneaky, thiefy early bird, right? I was so uncomfortable during that part of the book. Just get the fuck out of the house.
Yeah.
Stop touching things. Go pee in the bushes like a civilized person.
Gun breaking and entering type person.
Felony in order to pee.
I'm with you.
Reach a little decorum. Don't be breaking laws. This whole scene culminates in Wheezy needing to now find a place to stash her pre-picked estate finds. She decides to hide her treasures in one of the upstairs closets, thinking that'll be remote enough. Nobody else would get to it before she could retrieve it once the sale actually opens up in the morning. Unfortunately for Wheezy, when she opens the closet door, a bloody dead body falls out.
Shut the hell up. Okay.
So because Wheezy's bladder was where her brain was supposed to be, she swiftly gets arrested for theft and murder. The rest of the book takes us through not only trying to find the real killer, but also through the mysteries of some shady business deals, cheating scandals, rehab, possible stalking, and lots of rich people spending money on rich people things.
Okay.
This book was really well written, but it's very long and descriptive. As a fellow reseller, I personally enjoyed like the long-winded talks about what is or is not, valuable for flipping, the fixing and refurbishing.
I would have been all about that too. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, like the fixing, repurposing of old items, meandering through antique stores, etc. I don't know how captivating that would be for like other folks.
I don't know. Like the whole thing on the internet right now is watching people get shit from Goodwill. So I think there's an audience.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I enjoyed that part. But now, Nicole, may I ask you something?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, you've now listened to me talk about this book, regale you with a tale. What's missing?
The romance?
The romance.
Yeah, and a love interest. I didn't hear hide nor hair of any love interest.
I found the romance part of this book to be a little throwaway.
Oh.
The love interest is Daniel Stepanek. Wheezy and Daniel briefly dated in high school. He's just come back to town. He's now a chef. He was fine. Supposedly really handsome. Not only can he cook, but he's also refurbishing his old family home, so he's handy. I just didn't really find their relationship all that compelling. You could have left their entire romance out of this book, and it would have saved me about 100 pages, and it would not have changed a whole lot else about the plot.
Oh, no. Okay.
There was a part in the book where they briefly break up.
Like a third act breakup?
Yeah, like one of those,
Oh, okay.
So before they get back together, my thought was, they're over now. And I was already imagining who the next love interest was going to be. I was not sad about it. There was nothing about it that made me go, oh, but they need to get back together. I truly thought, oh, that was just like a vehicle for a couple of these little plot points on the side, and now she's going to go find somebody else. No, I mean, so whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not a romance novel. It just isn't.
It's murder with a side of...
Yeah. Reading the back of the book, it definitely sounded like it was going to be a romance novel. Yeah. And you know me, I don't really research these before I throw them in my pile.
We like to go in fresh.
Yeah. I'm sure if I had done any reading up on this, I would have figured out pretty quickly that it was not a romance novel. It falls into the category of chick lit. I'm totally cool with that. I love chick lit, apparently, because I enjoyed the book.
But not cliterature.
Not cliterature. Yeah, I enjoyed it. So I don't want it to sound like I'm slamming the book based on that. I think just because I went into it knowing that we were going to be talking about it for the podcast, I was like, oh, this doesn't really fit.
Okay.
what I loved, the treatment of a gay couple in this book. Remember, this was written back in 2002. And for anybody who's an old biddy like we are, there was still a lot of fear of coming out of the closet and
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
having a public relationship. And gay marriage wasn't really legal yet. I mean, I think in a few places in the US. So the fact that that relationship was treated with such respect and it was just two normal folks doing normal folk things, it was nice. She did those characters justice.
Awesome.
All the reselling portions, super relatable. After Wheezy gets arrested for theft and murder, she gets bailed out. She's at home. And while she's at home, really loud noise happens in back of her carriage house. And she looks out the windows and realizes that there is a scenic Savannah double-decker tour bus now in her alley because she's now on their famous murder route. And I laughed at that because I live in a house that is on the Murders and Spooks tour in Door County.
Oh, my God.
So every on season, there is a trolley parked outside my house every single night.
They're not mistakable. Like they're very noticeable trolleys.
Yes, yeah. And so I giggled because my house is across the road from where a woman got murdered and shoved in a furnace back in the 50s. So the fact that she ended up on this tour bus thing, I was like, okay, she's a reseller and they're stalking her with this tour bus. Okay, it's still me.
You're like, no surprises here.
Yeah.
Also, I really hope you sage your apartment regularly.
Anyway, me and Wheezy, she also talks about certain cleaning products that I think only resellers know about and or use, which I thought was funny. Wheezy's mom at one point in time says, I bought that dress with my first paycheck from the telephone company. Again, we're just talking about my family because my parents met at the telephone company.
Yeah. And all my mom and all my aunts worked at the telephone company up in Raylander, Wisconsin.
Yep. My grandma worked at the telephone company.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then, let's see, Saturday, 6 a.m. I struggled out of bed and into my work clothes. Baggy shorts, baggy shirt, sneakers. Swallowed 4 aspirin and washed them down with a Coke. My head was pounding from all the gin, wine, champagne, and self-pity I'd swallowed the night before.
I feel called out.
I know, I've been there.
Okay, we're seeing a lot of relatable things in this.
Yeah. Yeah. So just in general, I could relate to Wheezy. I just could not relate to the relationship she was having with that guy. I was like, meh. And on page 217, he helped her unload some furniture and then glanced fervently around before giving her a chaste little kiss. And you know, folks, we always love our chaste little kisses around here. Romance on the rocks.
In case you can't tell, Megan is being a little sarcastic.
Early on, one of Nicole's books, it was a Debbie Macomber book. The only romance in that entire thing was wearing black pants and having a chaste little kiss. So anytime I see chaste kisses in my book, I have to highlight them. Anyway, I thought that the murder and the mystery were very well thought out. And while I would like to have seen a couple of the side characters in this book get more consequences for their actions, I wasn't left dissatisfied with how things wrapped up. So overall, fun enough read. But it definitely was not a romance. And that is that.
So I'm assuming this is green pepper level to milk?
I would put it between a green pepper and a poblano.
Really?
Well, things happen, but they're very closed door. It's a lot of gropiness and things like that. But they do bang. They just bang quietly. So, you know.
Quiet banging.
Yeah. It would, again, I always say it's a book you could give to your mom and you wouldn't be embarrassed about what was in there. Yeah. And that is that.
Because it's a sweeter time.
Yeah, it was
Sorry.
very
Again,
Southern.
We're making a lot of references to older episodes, and I know our loyal fan following will totally know these references. But for anyone new to the podcast, we were told by my mother at one point that a book by Kathleen Norris was from a sweeter time, and it may have been one of the most not sweet things that we read.
It was uncomfy.
Because she was going for the stepson, and
yeah, it was super uncomfy. This book was very, very Southern, though.
Okay.
To the point where it almost in some places felt a little overwhelming because it felt like walking into somebody's social circle and they just kept dropping names. And it was all these kind of like very, Talmadge Evans the Third, very, very family oriented. If you lived in town, you'd know who the family is type of thing. So I had to get over that because there was just, like I said, I felt like I was swimming in Southern for a while there.
Okay.
But yeah, enjoyed it. Just it took a while and not a romance.
Okay.
And on to you, Nicole.
Oh, heck. I present to you, Megan, A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Amanda Collins, published in 2021. It fits the subgenre of historical romance. And a key trope is enemies to lovers. For our main characters, we have Lady Catherine Bascom, a widow and owner of the London Gazette. She also writes articles for her newspaper, including a column, A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem. Do we see where the title is coming from now? Then we have Andrew Aversham, a detective inspector for Scotland Yard. This takes place in 1865. There is a serial killer on the loose called the Commandments Killer.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that sounds like a thing that I would want to read about.
Maybe.
That sounds all religious-y and...
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Anyway, this killer's on the loose in London. Catherine is following the murders because, she's got a newspaper. As is her bestie, Caro, short for, I'm pretty sure, Caroline, if I'm remembering correctly.
So we both had a Caroline in our books.
Yeah. Caro, I don't know, Caro, whatever. They decide the police aren't doing the best job at investigating and finding the killer, so they start conducting their own witness interviews. And it just so happens they come across some witnesses that were completely ignored by the investigators. So were they entirely wrong for kind of seeking things out? I don't think so, but also it causes a little scandal. And then Andrew Aversham, who's been in charge of the investigation, is pulled from the case. So his replacement then arrests a man that fits a description from a witness that the ladies interviewed and claims it's the serial killer, but ... spoilers, it's not. Lady Catherine goes to visit her other bestie, Lord Valentine something or other, at his country estate, and the murderer seems to follow. Catherine and Andrew end up working together to solve the case, and that, my friend, is the plot and where I'm going to leave it.
Interesting.
So as you know, Megan, I normally highlight the things I loved as well as the challenges I have in a romance book. I love to give pluses and minuses or constructive whatever. This book didn't suck, but it didn't draw me in either. I found the writing to be stilted, if you will, and I personally was wanting more in-depth descriptions of clothing and environments, because that's one of the things I enjoy about historical romance novels, because I'm all here for a historical romance novel. But this was very lacking in those areas. I saw the plot reveal coming a mile away, even with the slight twist.
I hate that.
Oh, you would have figured it out. I know you especially would have figured it out like instantly and been like, what the?
I hate that.
Yeah. So that was kind of lackluster as well, if I'm being completely honest. All that being said, I will say if you like a tame, not overly cerebral murder mystery / historical romance novel that is not overly spicy, this would be a lovely option for a reader. And that's all I have to say about that. In terms of spice level for this book, I know we've kind of been like reevaluating where things fall. This was open door, but it was skinty, if you will, on the open doorness. So very least poblano, I guess, rolling into jalapeno, but
I feel like yours could probably be a full-on poblano, whereas mine is like poblano minus or green pepper plus.
yeah, I mean, they had sex. I guess that's something.
Yeah.
I'll decide on that later when I do my book review. I did enjoy one quotable, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
She was unable to say more, but needed to let him know she was not a fragile flower.
Very good.
I liked it. I was like, yeah, sometimes we're not fragile flowers. Scents. This year we're doing scents.
Yeah. And I actually remembered to write one down.
Oh, I love that. So for Catherine, Andrew associated Catherine with something clean and floral, jasmine and lilac. And for Andrew, Catherine associated him with clean sandalwood and pine cologne. So those are my scents.
I'm sure that my Wheezy and Daniel talked about each other's smelliness. I didn't care enough to write it down. But what I did write down...
Smelliness?
Their general stank.
Their odor.
Yeah. Putrescence. So what I did write down, because this spoke to me. I draped the quilt around my shoulders and buried my nose in the folds of the cloud-like cotton. Even after all these years, the quilt still smelled of my Meemaw, of lavender and ivory soap flakes.
Oh, we love a Meemaw vibe.
Yeah, so I thought that was very sweet because there's a very specific scent that I can remember from the linen closet at my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I walk into a house or I pick up linens somewhere that have that smell. And it's a very memory triggering type of thing. And so the fact that she could still smell her grandma on that quilt, I'm like, I get it, girl. I'm right there.
That. I love it. So we can never achieve a greatness like we have before with you hitting page 1 for boobies.
Mm-hmm.
However, where did the boobies land, if at all, in your book this time around?
We're going to have to discuss this one.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
Because we have a new reference that I don't think that we have had. And I'm not sure if we should count it or not.
Okay, you tell me more.
If we do count it, then I have page 2.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She wore lime green linen capri slacks and a matching linen scoop neck blouse that showed only a tasteful hint of décolletage.
That counts because the décolleté is the boobs. Yeah?
So that was my question, is that's a reference we have not had yet.
Which is shocking because I say décolleté all the time.
Is that how it's pronounced? I've always assumed it was décolletage. Now I have to look it up.
Well, it's 2 different words, décolleté and décolletage. It's 2 words. Yeah.
I didn't know that. See, I'm learning.
But I say décolleté all the time, and I am shocked and disappointed that more people don't use it.
Yeah, well, it's here on page 2.
Okay.
Otherwise, we were waiting until page 82, which seemed a lot more appropriate for this book, which was, my mother had force-fed me frilly Punch and Judy dresses until I was 12 years old and sprouted breasts. So 2 or 82, that's what I got. I was going to say, neither one of those were sexual in nature.
Right. But we've had non-sexually reference. Yeah.
Tons.
But what's interesting is I was also questioning my first bosom reference, literally.
Okay.
My first reference is page 108. The magnate's daughter's eyes widened, and she clasped a hand dramatically to her bosom. And I was like, well, we haven't really done bosom before.
Yeah, no, that counts for sure.
And I figured it counted, but that was page 108. But then I'm like, if we need a clear-cut breast reference, it didn't happen until page 197 when there was the corset was laced in front And he pulled the string of the knot, settled just between her breasts, loosening the tight clasp of the garment.
So we both went and looked for a second reference because we weren't sure. That's nuts.
Which is hilarious because normally we can't even remember to keep track of the boobs.
Yeah. You know what? These books were very unusual for both of us, right? Like, this was not a romance novel. Yours was just not the kind of book you typically read. And so for both of us, maybe it was actually easier to find these things because we weren't like
maybe
super into the book in the same way that we normally would be.
Yeah. Well, it's time to draw numbers for our next book of April, and it's our last pick a number.
It is. My numbers have been moved from their beautiful glass into this
baggie.
Yeah, a little plastic bag. A bag.
A bag.
A bag.
I get so much shit for the way I pronounce bags and tags down here.
Bagel. That's another one I get for bagel.
A bagel.
Bagel. Bagel. All right, sure. I've got number 1.
Oh, okay. What do we got, Megan?
The Pretend Wife by Bridget Asher. Oh, this is a traveling book, Nicole. Look.
Yes. This is going to make things so much more fun.
Oh, this is a traveling book. Okay. Nicole and I have talked about doing traveling books this year. I get tons of my books secondhand. Heaven knows where I picked this up. But this book belongs to Kathy, who passed it on to Debbie and Lorraine. For Gwen Merchant, love has always been doled out in little packets. From her father, a marine biologist consumed with work after her mother's death, and from her husband, Peter, who's always been respectful and safe. But when an old college boyfriend, the irresistible Elliot Hull, invites himself back into Gwen's life, she starts to remember a time when love was an ocean. What does Elliot want? In fact, he has a rather surprising proposition. He wants Gwen to become his wife, his pretend wife, just for a few days, to accompany him to his family's lake house for the weekend so that he can fulfill his dying mother's last wish. Reluctantly, Gwen agrees to play along, with her husband Peter's full support. It's just one weekend. What harm could come of it? But Gwen is drawn to Elliot's quirky, wonderful family, his astonishingly wise and open mother, his warm and welcoming sister, and his adorable, precocious niece. And she starts questioning everything she's expected from love. And as she begins to uncover a few secrets about her own family, it suddenly looks like a pretend relationship just might turn out to be the most real thing she's ever known.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Yes, I'm intrigued.
Right? All right. Pretend wife.
Okay. All right.
Pick a number, pick a number, pick a number, pick a number.
All right, I have 13. Okay, we have A Fate of Onyx and Ivory.
I almost bought that. That's in my cart on Amazon. Okay. Sorry.
By, and I'm so sorry if I pronounced this incorrectly, Ojanea Brown?
Oh, I'm not sure. I just know that that's sitting in my cart.
Ms. Brown. When 24-year-old Amira must provide for her family, she finds herself making a bargain with a clever witch that could possibly alter her life forever. In her pursuit to return home, she crosses paths with a savior, a powerful fairy, that transports her to an alternate realm she never knew existed. In a quest entwined with dark magic and immortality, Amira begins to question everything she has ever known. She'll need to remain the fighter she's always been while piecing together the truths that are hidden in the shadows of Solaris if she wants to survive. With each day that passes, she finds herself more attached to her new surroundings, including the white-winged fae that unexpectedly entered her life. Will she become a permanent part of his lavish world, or return to a life of poverty in the mortal realm to reunite with her family? Amira's decision won't be easy, deciphering between lust and fate. So I love this cover art.
Yes, I agree. I think that's in my cart because way back when we first did our very first Fae Smut month, that was one of my options.
Yeah. And I am proud to say I have the author's signature because this is one we scored in Milwaukee this past fall.
Very nice.
I also just have to give a shout out to all the amazing authors that I recently met on the LoveLit Cruise that I randomly ended up in representation of the podcast. I tried to do my best, Megan. I tried to give out all the bookmarks that I had left and all the business cards, but it's a little intimidating when you first roll into a cruise and you don't know anybody. And I've never been on a cruise by myself, so that was like a whole new thing. But I really, really hope that you come with me next year because everyone was so welcoming. And it just reiterated for me the thing that you and I have realized in the romance community, that people are so welcoming, so nice in general. I mean, yeah, you'll get your outliers here and there, but for the most part, people were taking me under their wing and I was hugging authors by the end of the adventure. And I met so many really cool people, both readers and authors. Ronnie was super cool. She had this wild pink hair and I adore her. And I can't remember her socials right now, but she was really cool. And then I met Nicolette and Thora and JD Harbor. He was like the one male author on the cruise and he writes all cruise romances. So that was really fun and interesting. And we did Family Feud stuff with the authors and listened to various seminars, talks with the authors. And we had all these fun theme nights like Magic and Mischief Night and Scarlet Night. And we also did a Mafia Wives type of night. It was just a lot of fun. And I think you would have really especially loved the one night we were in the Korean restaurant on the cruise ship. We had to do shots, Megan. And not just once, but multiple times over dinner.
Yep.
And then I ran into the craziest problem. We all know I like to imbibe. This is not news. I bought myself a little bar tab, is what they call it on Virgin Voyages, which hosted the LoveLit Cruise. And Virgin Voyages does things a little different for a cruise line where you pre-purchase your bar tab and then you get an extra credit. Well, I didn't realize that also on LoveLit Cruise we got a bar tab credit. And it was not a small bar tab credit. So I ended up having to spend $650 of a bar tab credit in 5 days, which I was like, I got this. I am a queen. I will make this happen. No, Megan, I was struggling. And I wasn't the only one. Several of us solo cruisers by the last night were like, we're buying buckets of champagne. That's what we got to do.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you reaching out and telling me that you were having this issue. And I lamented that I couldn't be there to at least help you for one night.
Right.
But
or the whole time. Yeah. It was hilarious though. Like, so there's this thing on the Virgin Voyages app where you literally shake your phone with the app open and it's called Shaking for Champagne. And they will bring you a bottle of champagne anywhere on the boat. So it was the last day of the cruise. We were doing a desserts final gathering for the LoveLit cruisers. And anyway, I got my bottle of champagne and I shared it generously with my fellow cruisers. And I had a blast.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. That was like a last minute thing. You had not planned on it, but at the final seconds, a ticket became available and you just swooped in. So that was fantastic. You know, probably good that it happened like that because it didn't give you too long to like build up any sort of like anxiety of being like, I don't know anybody or whatever. Like you just kind of like
still had anxiety.
Right. But I'm saying like it didn't have a chance to like super build because it was like throw shit in a suitcase and just go.
Yeah. I will say though, so there was an initial gathering of moo-moos and margaritas.
Oh, that sounds fun.
The first night on the ship. And this first night, I will say the LoveLit crew staff, they clearly saw that I was on the struggle bus with my anxiety and my nervousness. And I'm one of those extrovert, introvert mixed people where sometimes I'm an extrovert, but sometimes I'm definitely not, and I never know what I'm going to be that day. I was feeling very introvert that day. And the LoveLit crew just came up to me and they were like, hey, are you by yourself? And I was like, yep, what gave it away? And they were like, you know what? Here's some other solo cruisers. Let's get you mingling. Here's some of the authors. I just so appreciated that they did that and made me feel significantly less anxiety ridden from the get-go. And everybody, like I said, was so welcoming and inviting. And I have to say, Megan, you know how OCD and high I personality I am.
Yep.
This may be the most organized event I have ever participated in my life.
Coming from you, that is high praise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There were daily calendars that were put into a Discord group, and there was a whole Discord group for this. And there was a whole Canva manual that Erin, who manages LoveLit Cruise, put together beforehand with what do you need on the cruise and all these ins and outs. And then Erin's dear, sweet husband throughout the day would be like, here's your 30-minute warning for the next event, or 20 minutes to go for this, for anybody who not be cognizant of time or completely focused. I know. You're like, yes.
I'm time blind. I am so time blind. I would need that.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even expect that. I did not even have that expectation, but there Erin's husband was constantly all day long. Hey guys, remember to hydrate. And in 20 minutes, we're doing this. I cannot get over how impressed I was with the whole thing. So yeah, shout out to LoveLit Cruise and Erin and her hubby and all the amazing authors and cruisers. It was so much fun. I can't say enough about it. So
yay.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
yeah.
Shall we get out of here?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today for Romance on the Rocks. Please like, subscribe, and if you are a hopelessly romantic bookish biddy like us, think about giving us a review on all of the things, because we are on all of the things. Wherever you catch your podcast. And until next time, just know that your support really means the world to us. Stay safe and know that you are loved.